Fun times, fun times. Let's get the accountability chart out of the way. I slept in today. I slept in until I needed to sleep in, which was about 9:30. That's pretty late. I am down to 245.8 as of this morning. So the wave is coming back to its peak or valley, depending on your perspective. I matched that breath hold record again. 3 minutes and 4 seconds. Yeah, go me. Did 4 rounds of Wim Hof breathing after a 90-minute yoga, Bikram yoga that I did not want to do. God, I was avoiding it for like hours. I did that probably around 6, 7, something like that. And my fasting was between 6 and 9. And then when I came out of the yoga room, I was ravenously hungry. Ravenously. So I ate breakfast of champions, as they call it. Breakfast at 9 p.m. This episode is brought to you by LMNT. LMNT, electrolyte drink mix. Delicious, nutritious, scrumptious, and the ever so sought after diddlyumptious. That one says watermelon. This one is an orange flavored one. I've got 4 flavors in this particular array, in this little array of wonder and joy. I am on it these past couple of days about just being silly and having a good time. It's good stuff. All right, so we're going to talk about the leadership dance. The leadership dance. Let me pull up my little technological mumbo jumbo. Bing. This is kind of an aside, but I'm going to include it anyway because I don't care. I don't have it written down here anywhere, but basically the definition of a team that I came up with when I was up in Round Top this past April is that a team is an organism whose primary function is to make its weakest link into its strongest asset. Yeah. I don't know. Make of that what you will. Take it and run with it. Okay, enough shenanigans. This is from a book called The High Road Leadership by John C. Maxwell, and I will give Will his 3 seconds of leadership time. Ooh, hold on. We're getting crazy here. Don't get dizzy, everybody. That was over 3 seconds. Okay. Talking about how to lead a team from the high road. What Maxwell posits here in this chapter called placing people above your own agenda, right? There's 5 positions. So you lead by example. You're ahead, leading by example. You ask questions and listen. So you're beside your teammates, asking questions and listening. You serve your people. So you're below them. You're in service to them. You support your people. So you're behind them. You're pushing and supporting them. And last but definitely not least, perhaps most importantly, you advance the big picture. So you're above. You have the bird's eye view. You get the 30,000 foot perspective, as they call it. So starting from being ahead, leading by example, sometimes the traditional idea of leadership is what you need to do. You got to face obstacles, challenges, difficulties, break new ground. You have the team following you. You're paving the way, right? You face your fears and inspire the team with your efforts to draw them forward. And then if you lead people, they're going to follow whatever you do. So if you're taking shortcuts and you're trying to find an easy way around situations where you can cut that standard in half, you can very much expect your team to do the same. But if you hold the standard and defend the standard unto the highest possible level of potential, most likely everyone else is going to try to do that. At the very least, you can hold them to that same standard. So I think a very important point that he kind of makes towards the end, which I've included as a bonus over here. If you try to lead from miles ahead, the people get lost. So if you're leading from a standard that's way up here, like out of the camera, right? Like it's way up there, and the rest of the world is down here, right? This is where the world exists because there's a camera in it. But you're way it's all way up here. Help! Nobody can see you, man. And if you're gonna try to hold somebody to a standard that they can't even see, I mean, how can you expect somebody to do what they don't understand? He says if you try to lead from miles ahead, that people get lost. I mean, this is probably one of my biggest challenges in leadership. You know, if I have a vision of in a restaurant, like if I have a vision of a dish, and it's like a very highfalutin kind of fancy dish, I need to start from step one and break. So it has like 5 elements to the dish. Say it has 15 elements to the dish. I need to start with the first 5, and I need to, show people how that works and what the expectation is around that set of elements, and then include one more and include 2 more and kind of build it up. And in that particular example, in that type of case, what I would do is I would make, if I have this idea, I want to get off the camera, it's like way over here, and I'm like, it's gonna be super cool. I have to take my idea and I have to pull it back down here into this area over here where the box, you got to keep the recipe in here. Keep it in here. Don't run away. You got to keep that stuff down to earth and take those 15 elements, and all the garnishes and the crazy stuff, bring it back down, keep it simple, bring those 5 elements together. And then I can take one of those elements and show it to the team and say, hey, look, make sure this is like this. You really want to shoot for 3 to 5 to be able to get something that people can execute on a consistent level. So you have to kind of meet them where they are. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide here. Where's the slide? Yeah, so sometimes you're beside. Sometimes you're beside yourself. You got to ask questions and listen. So the way he explains this is that listening helps you connect with people. It helps you meet them where they are and keep them aligned with the agenda and the greater vision of the team's goals. So sometimes you're beside. Sometimes you're beside your team. And you have to ask questions and listen. Listening helps you connect with people. It helps you meet them where they are to figure out where their camera frame is, what their capabilities are. If you listen to them, you'll be able to figure that out. And then if you listen to them, it helps to keep them aligned with the agenda and the greater vision of the team's goals. It helps you to understand people. It helps you to learn from others. It helps you to receive their best contribution, right? You can listen to them and say, hey, where do you think that you would best be able to contribute to this project? You might think that that's a really good salad cook, but that guy doesn't really want to touch a salad. He wants to be a grill cook. So if you don't listen to him and you put him on the salad station anyway, he's going to end up resentful and he's not going to bring his best contribution to the table, right? So you got to listen to be able to receive their best contribution. You need to learn what they need from you, right? I need the day off, chef. I don't care. I'm just writing a schedule. Yeah, not going to turn out well. And then you can gain people's buy-in. So if you're listening and they know you're listening, they're going to be more likely to work with you. I mean, what else do people really want? They just want to be heard. So you got to be beside them. You got to ask questions and you got to listen. Sometimes you're below. Sometimes you have to serve your people. One way to do that is to provide resources, cut red tape, remove obstacles to their success. Speak clearly to them, outline what your vision is. You're helping them with the tools that they need to be able to do their job. And so they feel important. They know that you're considering them, and it doesn't make you any less their leader. You don't have to order people around and just tell them like, hey, get yourself together and whatnot. You can you can serve people and still be their leader. I mean, even if, say, if you're a manager in a kitchen and you have a lot of paperwork to do and you have to, I mean, I used to do this all the time. It was like a daily part of my routine. They know I have a bunch of other stuff to do, but one of the first things that I would do when I walked in that door is go to every single one of those cooks and say, hey man, how's everything going? How's your prep list today? Do you need anything from me? Can I help you? Do you want me to cut up some carrots for you? Do you want me to just start your short rib braise? Do you want me to, break down some fish or clean something for you? What can I do for you to help you do your job better today, to help you make your life easier a little bit today? And 99% of the times, it's like, they're like, no, chef, get out of here. I'm fine. I don't think that just applies to kitchens. I think people in general take pride in what they're doing with their life. And if you're there to help them, that 1% of the time, or they accept your help, it's so important, because when you show them that you're there and that you're the same, you're on the same level, and you're fighting shoulder to shoulder with them in the trenches, and I don't think there's anything more valuable. So that is the way to really get somebody's heart on your side. You need to step up first and offer that assistance first, and then let them show you where they're at. Yeah, and if you clear the road for people, they'll want to work for you, right? I think so. Sometimes you're behind. So you're behind your people supporting them. But what does that mean? Pull them, push them, and patiently wait for them. But I think even more importantly, it cuts to what it means to be a human, what it means to be someone's neighbor. It says to be their advocate, give them protection and security, and help them reach their potential. I mean, dude, if you did those three things, like just everyone, you're just always advocating for everyone, protecting and securing everyone, and helping everyone reach their potential. It doesn't mean you're coddling anybody. No, that does not mean that. What it actually means, and he lines it out here really well. He says you're pulling them forward. You're focused on their goals, on their dreams. You're helping them grow in that direction. Like where do you want to be in 5 years? Okay, let me help you figure that out. Right. So you're pulling them forward towards their goals, towards their dreams, and not just what they want. You're noticing what they're good at, and you're reinforcing that all the time. Hey man, I really like the way you keep your knife on the top of your cutting board all wiped off and clean like that. Your towels folded over there on the side. I mean, it makes me proud to work in a kitchen with people like you. It's really an honor to be here and to be allowed to have you working in my kitchen on my team. That's what it's all about, man. At the same time, number two, you got to push them forward. So, hey, look, man, I know it's really busy. And I saw you yesterday when it wasn't that busy, that you had your knife clean and at the top of your cutting board, and you had your towel folded, and your whole workstation was nice and neat and clean. Your little mise en place containers were wiped down. Everything was labeled perfectly. Your apron was tight. It doesn't look like that today, man. So what can I do to help you keep that standard up? Because you're not holding it up, and you need to. You're better than that. You got to challenge them. You have to push back on whatever they give you, whatever excuse they give you. You got to be able to push back on that, but not in a way that makes them less, not in a way that it makes them feel like that they failed at something. Part of the pushback is knowing just where that person, you have to know that person and know just where that person's sensitivities are, and get right into that pocket. And then sometimes you got to give them a little love. You got to give them what they call it, the Oreo cookie, right? You give them the chocolate, and then you give them like the weird chemical stuff, and then you give them another chocolate, So it's the Oreo cookie technique. You give them a hug, and then you punch them in the eyeball, and then you give them another hug, one on top of the other. Yeah, something like that. And then the last one here is like kind of counterintuitive. Patiently wait for them to move forward. This is the hardest one, but it helps to earn trust and gives people space to flourish at their own pace. And it really, I think I'm good at this because I need this a lot. When somebody's behind me and they're pushing on me to go, hey man, come on, faster, faster, faster. It just really, really rubs me the wrong way. I just think more recently in the last few years of my career, as I'm really coming into the ability to actually be a good leader, that one is a reflection that I've had, that looking back on past teachers, that pressure does more harm than good. And so it's necessary to have the pressure there, but it's a delicate balance of how to apply it. So, and then that closes out with a nice quote from Joyce Meyer. Patience is not simply the ability to wait. It's how we behave while we're waiting. So patiently wait for them to move forward and handle that waiting period with grace, and be proud of them when they get there. And lastly here, sometimes you're above. You can't see it. You can't see me up there, but I can see you. As a leader, you're advancing a common agenda for the benefit of everyone on the team. If you fail to identify and communicate the common vision, you leave a void. And that vision can be sidetracked by another agenda and derail the group's success. So you have to be able to communicate that common vision, and you have to make sure you hold that common vision and you have a very clear and distinct vision for the future. If you don't have that, somebody else can step in, they can sidetrack that agenda, and then everything can get derailed from there. So you have to watch out for that. It's very important to see the big picture and have that agenda. But it's more important to be in service to the people, because you're not going to accomplish that agenda by yourself. We only have two little bitty hands to get everything done with, and you're not going to get that done by yourself. You need a team. You need other people there to help, pick up the pieces, and somebody's got to help hold up the other side of the shelf to make sure it's level. And so if you don't have people who are willing to work for you, then you're going to have a real hard time. And service is the pathway to being able to place those people above your own agenda. When you find true enjoyment in the success of others, and they're going to feel that. The whole team succeeds from that. It's like a big organism that we all cross the finish line together. So how to place people first, right? That's not the easiest thing to do, right? It's like, okay, so advance the big picture, make sure you know everything that you got to get done, make sure you have your plan, your agenda together, and just make sure everybody does their job, right? But you got to be of service to all those people. Like, what does that mean? So the way to get there that Maxwell suggests, and develop empathy intentionally. So get to know people, especially people you disagree with. This is really, really important. Empathy grows when we read and digest opposite perspectives, even when they're infuriating. And man, there's some infuriating perspectives out there these days. And sometimes when you're working in a professional environment, there's some very infuriating perspectives that people have, ways that they want to do things, or maybe they don't have the same vision for the final product. They don't have the same standard for their final product. So they have different ways of looking at processes and procedures. And you just have to take a minute to look at and understand that perspective. And if you can really look at it and honestly digest that and talk to them about it, it's going to be much easier to come at them from that perspective than just to say, like, you're either going to do this or you're going to do it your way somewhere else. Really, you don't want to go there. You want harmony. Everyone should be having fun and producing together, So if you develop that empathy intentionally day to day, it just makes it a lot easier to broach those topics and cross those bridges. Make time for people daily. Just do your secretary's job once in a while. He has a story in here in the book about a guy who somebody was calling a corporate exec. And of course, they're expecting to get the guy's assistant on the phone. And, I don't know if he's going to be able to have an appointment. And I really want him to come do this speaking event. I don't know if he has time. And so they call, and lo and behold, the guy answers his own phone. Holy heck, Batman. I didn't realize that Bruce Wayne was answering his own phone over there. And he goes, well, when I'm free, I do answer my own calls. But let me tell you what, I don't know if I have time for the event, but let me check my calendar and I'll give you a call back. And so that person, of course, totally expects like maybe later that day, maybe the next day, to get like a call or a text message from an assistant or an email or something like that. No, like 10 minutes later, the guy literally calls him back. Hey, Bernie. Yeah, I got you the space at that event. What time you want me there? Like, what kind of leader is this? This is a good leader. It's just shoulder to shoulder in the trenches, showing your humanity, and that's something that's just irreplaceable, and especially when it comes naturally. So make time for the people every day. Check your agenda repeatedly, and this does not mean like look at your Outlook calendar and be like, hey, what's on my agenda for today? No, don't let your ego get in the way. Check your agenda, check your ego. Make sure that the people are more important than the outcome of the project. So something that really projected a local restaurant that I used to work for here, projected them into real fame, was that during COVID, the owner went on the news and was like, hey, I need to take care of my people to make sure that, you know, they're getting their paychecks. And so I'm going to go ahead and open my business. It's one of the reasons I really wanted to go and work for him. He seemed to hold at that time a very high level of that particular value for his team, right? He put his people above his agenda. They could have come in, and the city could have come in and like taken his liquor license or shut him down, you know, shut down his restaurant or condemned his building or had the health department come in. You know, like there's so many things that could happen, and there's so much risk in that business. And he had just invested millions of dollars in a brand new restaurant. That's a big risk for him to stand up and to speak that way and to be able to put everything on the line so that those people would be able to have a paycheck. And I still admire that decision. I mean, that's timeless. That's a 1776 moment. You can't lose on that. You're going to have so many people behind you that there's just no way, man. They could take your $1 million restaurant and shut it down, but you're going to be able to turn around and do something else because you really have the people on your side from that. And so checking your agenda, making sure that you're placing those people before your own needs. There always has to be some kind of balance to it, but man, it's better off on the side of the balance that you're serving your people than it is on the side of the balance that you're serving yourself or your business, right? So, and then the last one here is create win-win outcomes continually. You only win if everyone on your team wins. I mean, that one seems pretty obvious. It's not always the easiest thing to do, but in the long term, the win-win mentality and the service before self mentality is going to pay off tenfold, hundredfold, millionfold, because your short-term thinkers, they might get it over on a couple of people and might get a couple of deals there in the beginning, but they don't have longevity. And when you have a win-win outcome mentality, you're going to have longevity because people are going to want to come back and do more business with you again. And so that one's really key to maintaining a long-term picture rather than just trying to like win the day. It's better to choose your battles. You win some, you lose some, and play strategically. And then in the end of the day, you can win the war. Hey guys, really appreciate everybody watching the episode tonight. Please do us a favor and smash the like button, hit the subscribe and the notification bell, share the show with your friends, and keep on keeping on. Put others before yourself. Listen to teachers and advisors and make those choices early because we don't all have a lot of time. Ciao, ciao.